Hi folks, so I decided to make this brief video in case if you prefer this talking format, just for a review of the elements of music that we'll be using in our class versus the written notes that are available for you if you look into the course notes from day 2. So here comes nothing. Here is the metaphor, not the one that I used in the class. Music is organized sound and it behaves like speech. Not because it literally means the same thing as words, but because it has recognizable features that shape, affect meaning. When someone speaks, you can immediately notice the speed, the rate, the volume, tone of voice, emphasis, and the repeating patterns, repeating phrases. Music has the same kind of ingredients. The first, tempo and pulse. It's our speed and heartbeat, if you will. The tempo is how fast the music moves. The pulse is underlying beat that you could tap. In speech, this is the difference between someone talking calmly and someone blurting a sentence in a rush. Tempo changes how we interpret intention. Urgency, ease, panic, confidence. Second element, dynamics and volume. Dynamics, which is volume and intensity. Dynamics are how loud or soft the sound is and how it changes. In speech, dynamics are your whisper, your normal voice, your shout, and the way you lean into the word for emphasis. A sudden loud entrance can feel like interruption. A gradual swell can feel like conviction is arriving. The third element, the register, how high or low. Register is where this sound lives, higher or lower. In speech, a low register can feel grounded or ominous. A high register can feel light, fragile, bright, nervous, or otherworldly. Can apply to both areas, I suppose. Register is one of the quickest emotional signals in music. The fourth element, the timbre and instrument families, which is the tone of voice. The timbre is the color of the sound. A flute and a violin can play the same note, but they do not sound the same. In speech terms, it's the difference between a friend's voice and a principal's voice, a comedian, a villain, a lullaby, or a warning. Instruments are, you can think about them as different characters. They carry associations, and composers use that. And we talked about the following families. We talked about the string instruments, we talked about the just wind instruments collectively, whether it's the woodwinds or brass, and we talked about different types of percussion instruments. The pitched ones, the one with different tones, and the unpitched ones like cymbals or drums in the drum sets. There are special categories of instruments there as well, like you would find harp there, piano would be there, organ, just, well, I suppose also keyboard instruments at large. But that's an entirely different animal and on some level. Moving on, the fifth element, the texture, which means how many layers we can hear at once. Texture is how many musical lines are happening at the same time and how they interact. In speech, texture is the difference between a single speaker or a crowded conversation or a chant or people talking over each other. Thin texture can feel exposed. Thick texture can feel overwhelming, powerful, or chaotic. The sixth element is articulation, or how the consonants land. Articulation is how notes begin and end. Short, crisp, smooth, connected. In speech, articulation is the difference between clipped syllables and flowing sentences. Crisp notes can suggest energy, playfulness, and agitation. Smooth lines can suggest tenderness, longing, or control. And lastly, the seventh kind of element, but it's more of an element of music as the structure, as a tune, as a melody, rather than just the small building block that we can notice as we listen to something. I'm talking about the motif. Motif is a repeating idea that we can recognize. We talked about Star Wars, we talked about Jaws. We can hear the music, we can hear motif, we can have 2 notes together, 4 notes together, and we can already associate that with something that's at the particular moment is not happening on the screen. So a motif is a short musical idea that returns. It can be a melody, a rhythm, a chord pattern, chord when we have 3 or 4 notes happening at the same time, or a particular color. In speech, motifs are catchphrases. They come back, and each time they return, they carry memory. Motifs help you track characters, ideas, places, and emotional states. If you can notice these 7 elements, you can do the central work of the course, which is to make a claim about the meaning and support it with those anchors. We don't need the perfect vocabulary, we just need accurate noticing. Thank you for watching this video. I can't wait for us to return to the class, and I'll see you in the next video if need arises.